So, welcome everybody to the August edition of First of the Month podcast. I am very proud to say I'm sat next to Frankie this morning. Frankie, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good thanks. How are you doing?
I'm very, very well, thank you. It's great outside, summer's over, but as always, you're bringing the energy this morning, which is fantastic. So, first of all, big congratulations for winning for August.
Thank you.
I think when we put the announcement out, there was three points which we saw made the perfect month, which was your book deals, which means you're helping your vendors and your partners.
Mm-hmm.
So you've done loads of enablement with partners, which is fantastic, which means they can have more good conversations around our vendors. And then lastly, partner recruitment. So you found great new partners for our vendors to work with. So for me, that's a perfect month. Talk us through it.
I don't really know where to start. I think I'm not going to say luck because it's definitely sort of like preparing and making sure that you've got things in the diary, but it's just sort of thinking about like the actions as opposed to like the end goals.
Yeah.
Obviously in my head I've got like a bit of a target of what I want to achieve, but it's more sort of actually speaking to people and picking up the phone, making sure that I'm communicating with people and just not waiting for things to happen, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the key thing we do as a business, as a dish, is we're proactive. And I think all the things you've done, certainly in August and way before then, is paying off, which is really, really good to see. Before we get into the crux of all the boring work stuff, talk to me about Frankie.
Oh.
What do you do? What do you like doing?
Oh God. Where do I start? I feel like I'm quite a mixed person. Like I'm into quite a lot of different things. I'm actually, believe it or not, quite a shy person.
I don't believe that.
No, like I think I hit a barrier and then it's just like, like bam, I'm here.
Yeah.
But yeah, so just like a little bit of like a rundown. So I actually graduated university last summer. So yeah, just over a year ago. Had a couple of years out before then, so I was like a tad older than some of my friends. They all call me a grandma. Yeah, I studied English at uni. Obviously, as everyone will be aware, I love talking. So yeah, like communication is like a big thing, and I think I didn't really think I'd find myself in a role like this, but I think that's like set me up in good stead. In my spare time, I'd love to say that I'm really outdoorsy and do loads of stuff, but I'm quite lazy, unless it's at night time, and I'll dance, and love going out. But yeah, I just love being like chill, being nice and cosy, sat on the sofa in a blanket.
So one thing you didn't mention is your poetry. When Frankie came for her interview at Distology, she said she was bang into poetry, so I put her on the spot and asked her to read some, and it was fantastic. Don't worry, I'm not going to ask you to read some. However, we've got a segment on this podcast, and this segment is called Poetry or Poet-Ste. Okay, so what I've got five lines of poetry. Okay, you've got to tell me which ones are by published poets and which ones I have written.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So are you ready for poetry or Poet-Ste?
I'm so ready.
Okay, so it's just a line of a poem, but you've got to tell me if you think it was written by me or someone else.
Okay.
Okay. Courage is the muscle we work night and day to get equal rights, to get equal pay.
I think that's an actual poet.
Okay. Tick. That is. Don't know by who. 1 out of 1. Number 2. The still of night is a crashing sound. Your mind, I, wanting to be found.
Was that you?
Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
That was me.
Oh, on me.
There you go.
Let's not play this one again.
Number 3. You ready? Sea air fills the black hole of night. A vacuum of greens and blues collide.
I think that might be you again.
That is me. Okay, 3 to 3. Okay, number 4. I think of lovers as trees, growing to and from one another, searching for the same light.
Maybe an actual poet.
That is. This is fantastic. I mean, it shows my poetry is rubbish.
Don't you want me day job?
Right. Number 5. Big one. Can you get 5 for 5?
Oh God.
Are you ready for this one?
Pressure.
Okay. I eat my peas with honey. I've done it all my life. it makes the peas taste funny. What keeps them on the knife?
I think that's an actual poet.
Final answer?
Children's poet, yeah, an actual poet.
Bang on.
Oh,
Well done. So obviously,
that English degree's doing me well.
there you go. Frankie knows her poetry. I'm a bit disappointed that I couldn't pass any of mine off. So
Sorry.
there you go.
We can go back.
So tell us what vendors you work on and how that learning curve has been, getting your head around the technology and really driving those forward.
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably going to miss some things out here. But so I work on Yubico, and I also work on Galaxy Key. Yeah, Key Queen, I like to think. Yeah. But yeah, so like, when I first joined the business, obviously I have no experience really in sales, definitely not in tech. Anybody at the business will be able to tell you that. So like starting on Yubico was quite straightforward. It's pretty easy to get your head around, obviously with it being hardware. And I was sort of like blown away by it. Somebody showed me what it did, and I was like, wow, as if these things exist.
You nearly swore that, didn't you?
Yeah, potty mouth Frankie's not out today. But yeah, so that was sort of like a really good place for me to start and sort of get my head around, like, well, I haven't quite got my head around the tech industry, and I don't think I ever will, but I kind of like understand things a little bit more, and just sort of even just getting that like base knowledge of like computers and how they work and all the terminology. So then moving on to Galaxy Key, which is a little bit more like complicated. Obviously, I hadn't really done anything around encryption before. It was quite nice, like, to progress to something a little bit more. It took a little bit more getting my head around.
Yeah.
And obviously they're one of our disruptive vendors. So I think in terms of like the sales side of stuff, it was really, really good for me to get my teeth into something that wasn't sort of as prominent in the market, should we say?
Yeah.
Because they're sort of like still up and coming. It was good for me to like get some experience when they're at a different sort of like stage in their distribution, shall we say, than Yubico. But now that I'm working on both, I feel like the cat that's got the cream. It's wonderful.
No, it's great to hear. I think your enthusiasm and hard work you've done to get your head around the technology stand you in good stead when you are driving their channel business. So one of the big things for you, Frankie, is your energy and your enthusiasm, which you bring every single day, and it's so infectious across the rest of the team. What gets you up in the morning? What gives you that drive when you come into the office? Because it's great to see.
I don't really think I could like pinpoint a particular thing. I've always said, and like a lot of people do say, I kind of am quite energetic, and I just kind of put it down to maybe because I'm so small, there's like the same amount of energy that there would be in like a larger person, sort of like confined in a smaller space, so it sort of like comes out a little bit more. That's how I like to sort of like imagine that's why I'm like this. Okay. But there's no sort of like thing where I'm like, oh yeah, like that really motivates me. It's just, I don't know.
I think it's great to see, and I think it shows me and the wider team that you're enjoying what you do, which is fantastic, and that comes across the partners and vendors. Yeah,
definitely. I think as soon as I get into work, it's one of those things, as I said, like I sort of fell into this job. I knew that I would enjoy it because of like talking to people. I just love chatting. And there's definitely like highs and lows to it, and I think especially like now there's been so much like going on within the business, like the investment and moving offices, and it's a really like exciting time. I can like feel that, and I think it's just sort of like reverberating back and forth that there's sort of like that excitement going, and that, I just love coming in. It's great. Love seeing everybody.
Good. So August, everyone always bangs on, August is a quiet month and nothing happens, and we never have, ever, quiet months here at Distology. So from a sales perspective, there's been exciting things going on. There's been the Dragon's Den, the pitches, and there's been the sales trainings. So talk us through those, and what did you get out of those sessions?
So as you will probably be aware, I don't think presenting well up until now, I didn't really think it was my forte. It's surprising because I love to talk, but I think sometimes I get a little bit anxious when it's sort of there's a bit of a build up to something because I want to do so well and not ruin things. I put quite a lot of pressure on myself, but I think doing these sort of like presentations during like the Dragon's Den, it kind of showed me that actually I am prepared. I do my research and I can stand up and sort of give it a good go. So I was proud of that. And then the sales training, again, like great, something that I've never really done before, and it's nice sort of having like external experience coming in and giving like a fresh take on things. I do always try to spread my questions around the business so I can get a different perspective, but actually having somebody that's sort of separate from Distology as well, like it was just an extra added insight. It was really useful.
So I think from my side, the Dragon's Den is where the sales team came in and pitched about which partners you wanted to focus on and what your plans were. And I think what we wanted to see as a business is how well do you know your partners? Because you can't add value to partners if you don't understand their go-to-market, what they're trying to do themselves. So I think it came across really well in yours, Frankie, that you do understand your partners and you know how to add value, which was great. And I think the sales training for me has been fantastic because we're all learning, and the tech industry changes so quickly, and channels always moving. To sort of get that insight from Dave, he's got such great channel experience. I think we'll stand you all in very good stead moving forward.
I hope so. Yeah.
Matt, your sales manager, asked me to ask about your dress sense, but I'm not going to do that, Frankie, because I think you're a real snappy dresser. I think we look. We were saying just before we started this recording that if distribution doesn't work out, we've got a little chat show going on here. So
let all the viewers in.
So there we go. But no, I think your dress sense and it all adds into sort of your personality, which is fantastic. Big question. You just won for the first time. Big congratulations. What's next? What's next for Frankie at Distology? Where do you see yourself going?
God, that is a tricky one. I try not to think too far ahead because I get sort of like I hold on to things and things don't always go the way you would expect.
Yeah.
But I just know, I don't know, I'm not psychic, but I just have a feeling inside like I'm gonna do great things and like I want to be here and I want to move to the next level and I want to prove that like I'm meant to be here and like prove myself. I think especially as well like as a woman. Not only like in sales but in tech as well. Like we've got to go that extra mile sometimes, and I've got enough energy to send me like 100 miles. So I'm not going to give anything away, but big things are
watch your space, okay?
Yeah.
But no, I think you should be very proud of what you've done coming in, and you've seen how quickly we're growing as a business and the natural opportunities which will come with that. And I think you keep that drive, that energy, that passion, you'll go wherever you want to go. So it's a big well done for you.
Yes.
I always say to the winners that you can ask me one question and one question only back at me. So anything you want.
Oh
the
wow!
floor is yours, Frankie.
Oh god, this might have to edit out the pause.
Yeah, have a little think.
All right. Okay. So other than maybe a professional rugby player or a sales director, or a poet,
obviously,
what would be your other dream job? What would you want to do? Spend your days doing?
It's a good question. When I was growing up, I always wanted to be a lorry driver. I did. That was I don't know why, but I was obsessed with being a lorry driver.
Fancy going from down the motorways?
Yeah, I'm not a very good driver, so I've not got very good spatial awareness. I don't think I'd be very good. I think for me, whatever job it would be is working with people. I really enjoy that interaction. I love being part of the team we've got here and the wider team at Distology. So anything where it's engaging with people, seeing people progress and things like that, that'd be perfect. But I think if I didn't do a half decent job in sales, I'd be bang in trouble.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to agree with that, Frank. You're supposed to. No, you'll be fine. But
No, other options. Oh no, well we know that you're not going anywhere, so good for us. Woo!
So that is it for all this edition of Salesperson of the Month podcast. I will be releasing a poetry book in the not too distant future. You can get us on all good podcast platforms such as Apple iTunes, all that good stuff if you want to listen back. Frankie, again, massive well done, and we'll catch you on next month's edition.